the pressure is on so immediately quickly. You're not even afforded time to say 1 year, give me a wash and it'll get better. You have to almost figure it out immediately. And I think that's the reality of the situation right now.
In the starting 11 for Real Madrid, 9 Champions League winners today. One of them that's not a Champions League winner is Kylian Mbappé. Does that concern you at all?
What does what concern me?
The prestige that they have in this competition.
No, I just told you. The hole is already dug.
Listen, but hold on. We're living a lot on aura, and sometimes aura gets you over the line. It gets Real Madrid over the line a lot. But from footballing terms, if Arsenal go to the Bernabéu and play another mature game with aplomb, that they feel confident on the football, because sometimes they are naive. You don't want Real Madrid to score that first goal early on. The Bernabéu's falling on top of you. The pressure comes in and your knees start shaking. What I saw from Arsenal today was something that convinced me that they can manage a game. You got to make sure the Bernabéu, you got to take it in increments of 10 minutes. Survive the first 10 minutes, then the second. Feel comfortable with the game. And today what Arsenal showed me is that they can feel comfortable in football games.
The same way
in high stakes football
100%,
games.
But the same way you're saying that, I always say about balance. Do you not think that the Real Madrid players are going to have the responsibility of what it means to play for that club and the situation that they're in?
Without a doubt.
They're not going to raise their levels to say this is our season. And they can do it. Okay, we didn't see it today. But again, they're away from home.
And what about against Valencia the weekend?
They're away from home, but that's not Champions League.
And what about Lille in their league stage?
That's fine, but that's a different story. The league situation, we can say the same thing about Arsenal when they perform in the Premier League. It's the same thing. The domestic forms are not that great to shout about. But this is the Champions League. This is the second leg now. Real Madrid can go into that game saying this is our season also, at home, with the expectation, the pressure, where we've seen them rise to the occasion. I'm going to say this now, Mr. Italy over there, who loves his Ancelotti.
I'm Mr. Arsenal for this segment.
I know, but since when were you such a big
Ancelotti? Do you think Ancelotti
with this guy, huh?
is going to be saying to his Real Madrid players, we're out of it now, we're done?
No,
we're 3-0 down.
I don't think that at all. I don't think that at all. I think that we're looking at an Arsenal team now under Arteta for the last 2 seasons where they finished second in the Premier League, that are different. There's something different about them. The talk about Arsenal was always that, oh, they've played great football and that they don't have enough to win and blah, blah, blah. And that's fine. But in the last 2 years, I've seen an Arsenal side that's very pragmatic, very defensive. They played the first half of this season and had very little possession. They were in the second half of the table in possession. They don't care about the possession.
That wasn't the Arsenal that Arteta took over. That was not the same Arsenal we saw. He's changed.
Hold on. There's a maturity today. They played 90 minutes, by the way, of very comfortable football.
You have to.
I would say that if they had a 1-0 lead going into the next round, they would still be very comfortable the next match. I think they're going to be comfortable in their Bernabéu. I really do, because I think that those players at Real Madrid are become individualistic, and they go up against guys week in and week out that are not as athletic and organized as Arsenal is. Now, the last 2 years, Arsenal don't concede a lot of goals. They're good at set pieces. They're good at defensive transition. They're good at all the things that Real Madrid exploit in other teams.
They were so organised today.
And Arsenal have become a lot more pragmatic recently under Arteta than they were when he first took over. Let's not act like they were always this way. They were very gun-ho, front foot football, attacking and this, and then all of a sudden now they become a lot more defensive and pragmatic. So for me, again, tactically, they got it right tonight.
Nigel.
But there's still a second leg.
How many times?
This is what they have to play for. Let's put that out there. Let's make that the realistic thing. They're not playing for a Premier League title or any domestic cups. This is what they have to play for to salvage
what does that change?
It plays a part.
Okay, of course.
If they were still competing for a Premier League title, it would be a different scenario.
Real Madrid is. Sure. Have Alaves this weekend.
Listen. Real Madrid, this is the difference with Real Madrid. Sure, I buy the differences in Arsenal. And they've grown, and this was the epitome of growth of a process that they've trusted in, and they've gotten to the stage that they pulled up a good result. The difference with the Real Madrid team from last year is that they had collective solutions to games like this that got complicated. This season, it feels like, oftentimes more than not, it's the individualities that will resolve games. Kylian Mbappé, Vinicius, Rodrigo. Before you had an organizer, and Toni Kroos, Luka Modric would come in and paired with Jude Bellingham, they would find solutions to free up those guys. I'm not often seeing a collective solution from Real Madrid in the big games, and the writing has been on the wall a little bit. The thing is that they can plaster over those cracks because the guys up top are so freaking world-class that sometimes it doesn't even matter that you're not playing well, that they'll figure it out.
On? Because a lot of people put it on Kylian Mbappé.
No, and it's also on Ancelotti, right? It's such a shame because you only have one season to get it right. At a club like Real Madrid, the pressure is on so immediately, quickly. You're not even afforded time to say 1 year, give me a wash and it'll get better. You have to almost figure it out immediately. And I think that's the reality of the situation right now. They're going to have the best performance collectively on all fronts in the Bernabeu to get over the line.
This weekend, Nigel, against Alaves, you would think, okay, well, they've got such a big game against Arsenal next week where they've got this 3-goal deficit to overturn. But Alaves are fighting for their life at the bottom of La Liga. So now all of a sudden they can't make the rotations that they would want to either.
They wouldn't have done it anyway.
I believe they'll make the rotations, trust me, because if Nico talks about big games, this second leg has turned to an absolute massive game. Now we're going to read.
No, but hold up, they would have done it anyway because you can't throw away you can't throw away La Liga. You can't throw away La Liga just like that.
You're going to throw away La Liga, but they will be making changes.
Rotations. And Nigel's saying
they will make rotations.
You would have tweaked a little bit, but not full on, not rotations. You have La Liga. You
when
can't
you say full on, you look at their squad. They've got injuries that they're dealing with anyway. But if like Endrick starts and the players who are on the bench say the majority of them starts, Brahim Diaz.
I don't think Real Madrid at this point in the season can't be afforded.
Endrick. And Brahim Diaz, the youngsters, they'll put the youngsters
at this point in the season, when you're fighting on all fronts like Real Madrid, you can't be afforded to turn over a team and just focus on the Champions League.
Is there any part of Ancelotti's mind now, after that 3-0 loss tonight, that he thinks, okay, the title race now is our priority?
No. I don't think
so, no, not at all.
This is what one Real Madrid fan had to say. There is no way we are making a comeback. I'll go bold if Madrid makes a comeback. Let's hear from Jude Bellingham, shall we, and see his thoughts after the match.
Jude, commiserations. Were Arsenal very good tonight? Were Real below your level tonight?
Both. I think we were nowhere near it. That's the fact. And Arsenal were really good. I think I know that 2 of their goals are free kicks and really good individual pieces of delivery. But to be honest, they could have had way more. We're lucky to get away with 3. But you know, there is a second leg. That's the thing that we're kind of holding on to. We're going to need something unbelievably special. You know, something crazy really. But if there's one place where crazy things can happen, it's our house.
Well, I was going to say, it's something even Real Madrid have never done, is come from 3 goals down after the first leg in Europe.
You never know. Obviously, the performance was nowhere near good enough, but I can't come out after a game and say we're going to give up. It's not in the nature of the club. It's not in the nature of in the mentality that they instill in you at this club. So, 90 more minutes at home to pull something out of the bag. You know
Declan Rice very well. Did you see one, not let alone 2 free kicks like that coming?
To be honest, they're 2 great pieces of individual quality. You know, like I said, if it wasn't for those 2 goals, they still had a lot more chances where we did very little. And sometimes that's the difference in these kind of games. We thought we were hanging on well, despite not playing very well at all. And then we got punished, and that happens at top level football. But like I said, loads of time left.
Is there the frustration as well? First half, you did create moments, didn't you, which you could have taken? So I'm looking at your pass to Mbappé particularly.
Yeah, no, it's a chance, of course, but. You know, in these games you need to create more because, you know, everyone's at their best level. The goalie's made a great save and, you know, very rarely do you come to a place like this, score 1 goal or have one chance, score it and go through and take a lead back to home. So, just didn't do enough. Got to the final third multiple times in what looked like to be good areas. They reacted really well on the transition and we didn't really do enough with the ball to threaten. Like you said, we had a couple of moments, but in a night like this, it's not good enough.
And what's your message then to the rest of the group going back next week?
Oh, we're still alive. We've still got 90 minutes of football. And like I said, anything can happen at the Bernabeu. Anything.
Thank you, Jude.
Cheers, mate.
Oh, well, we just said Declan Rice is class, isn't he, in the way that he speaks, and so is Jude Bellingham. To go out after a 3-0 loss on a Champions League night, Grella, and to be so honest with the performance that they gave.
I agreed word for word with his assessment. Lucky to get out of there with only 3 conceded.